Hey, everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. I thought I'd talk this week a little bit about employment types, and I want to focus specifically on a category. I don't even call it employment, but the 1099 contractor model. And what brings this up is I've seen a couple of jobs posted in the last couple of weeks where a safety company is advertising a position and they're advertising it as a 1099 role. And I want to explain that a little bit. Now, I always had an issue with this idea of hiring somebody as an independent contractor. In the United States, it's actually highly controversial, and in many places, it's not even technically legal. And I'll explain why. But if you see a job that's posted and it says 1099 position, then you should be incredibly leery. And this is one of the ways that I want to say mom and pop type of companies, they kind of come up and they can compete with legitimate companies, is that they don't employ people. Now, from an employer's perspective, if you employ somebody, you have to feed into their federal and state unemployment. You have to have workers' comp insurance on them, which is very challenging to get when you're first starting out. And then you've got all the different payroll costs and taxes. So there's a burden to an employer to employ somebody as a W-2 employee. Now, if an employer is telling somebody where to go to work, what to do, and they're guiding or directing them in any way, then that person fits the category of a W-2 employee. If that individual is truly an independent contractor, they have their own consulting firm, as an example. They have their own insurance to be able to operate and function as a business, and they can invoice that employer. Then they can become an independent contractor, or what we might call a subcontractor, working under a subcontract agreement. Now, that's where the whole quote unquote 1099 model kind of fits in. And in reality, they're a 1099 under a federal tax ID number and not a social security number. So from the employee perspective, what are the disadvantages of working for somebody who wants to issue you a 1099 versus paying you as a W-2 employee? And again, there's a lot of advantages to the employer. And especially in a tight margin type of a situation with a client, an employer can have a rate, let's just call it $100 an hour, to cover everything: per diem, wages, vehicle costs, etc. If they are paying somebody straight time plus overtime plus per diem, vehicle allowance, fuel, whatever it might be, very quickly their costs can get out of control. And before they know it, they can even be upside down. If they 1099 somebody, they can say, look, I'm going to pay you an all-in rate of $85 an hour. You got to cover all your lodging, your meals, your vehicle, your fuel, your wages, everything, and I'll issue you a 1099. That way, the employer can kind of control their cost, knowing their bill rates, and they can guarantee they're going to be profitable. But you as the employee, or you as a 1099 contractor, you don't have any workers' comp insurance. If something happens, you get hurt. So the negative for the employer is you no longer have an exclusive remedy relationship. Therefore, you can sue them because they're not actually your employer. But good luck. It can be challenging fighting that battle, but you have no work comp insurance. You have no unemployment, state or federal. None of your taxes are being taken out. So in a lot of ways, it's just a raw deal. And again, in most places, it's not even legal. Under the federal IRS, if they catch it, they will penalize an employer. Now, I had this argument with a former business partner many, many years ago, and I guess I lost that argument because at the time, the determination was made to 1099 somebody. At the end of that specific project, that person filed for unemployment, and that unemployment claim was a trigger that launched an investigation by that state into determination that that person should have been an employee and not a 1099. So the firm that I was a partner in ended up being fined, had to pay back taxes and all kinds of other things. So I've had this argument with business owners multiple times that there's no place for 1099. There just really isn't. Again, if you're seeking work or if you kind of jump from project to project, be very, very leery of any company who says we're going to make you a 1099. In my opinion, you should question that company and their legitimacy, and you should really kind of look for a better opportunity. That's just my opinion, but any company who would 1099 somebody, I would question their legitimacy. Hopefully that is of some kind of value, and we'll see you next Wednesday.